What'd you think it was 2?
Yeah, well, my computer, for some reason, is still on Central Time.
Oh,
so
no.
I didn't realize it was 3:30. But
we got places to be.
We've got a lot to do, and we're going to be testing this out. We did test the audio, so I'm hoping for everyone listening that this sounds really good. And we're going to do a 2-parter. Yes. So we have so much to talk about because we didn't get a chance to podcast during the road trip. So we're going to do, this is part 1. We're going to do a part 2 on Wednesday, and we're going to cover the entire journey. And then I think by Friday, we'll be able to talk about being here in Florida because we'll have a little more time to have some stuff to talk about for our first week.
Yeah.
And, but yeah, this is great. We're doing a fueled up episode today. And
cheers, baby. We really need water to hydrate right now.
After driving 39 hours over 5 or 6 days, I've never understood the importance of water until that trip. Every time I was tired, I would pound a bottle of water, and I feel great. Coffee brings you real quick up, but then you crash.
That's true, too. And a very big shout-out to you, baby, for driving the entire way and being so wonderful.
That's what I do.
Being safe, making great time. What an adventure. What an adventure. Everything went so perfect. I couldn't have asked for a better, trip, all these great accommodations, just all of it. It just went really smooth. Great weather, too.
Yeah, except for the last 2 hours.
We got a little bit of rain.
But it was late. It was late. I think the last 2 hours was the hardest 2 hours of the whole entire trip. We were exhausted. It was the only time we drove in the dark.
Yep.
And it started raining, and we had 2 hours and 40 minutes left. And it was raining. It was dark. There's no street lights. And so I was just trusting about 200 feet ahead of me. You just follow the lines, but you can't see where you're going on the freeway.
But once we got on the turnpike, there was some lighting. And luckily, it wasn't a hard pour.
Yeah.
Downpour, like crazy rain. Like it was raining, but I've been in worse. I was very grateful it wasn't that bad.
I know. But we're here. We made it safely. We set up our new podcast studio. We think we nailed it in the first try, but once we play this back, we'll look at the video, we'll look at the background, but we actually moved this cabinet behind you. We found it in another place of the house, put a couple bottles of wine in it, threw my Emmy in there. That's really cool.
Yeah.
So we wanted to make a set that's out of the way, because we probably won't eat at this table. We're going to eat outside. There's just this patio outside that we're going to do all of our eating at, or at the coffee table, which we usually do a lot too. So we're going to just keep all this set up, and then we'll be able to use this now because we're going to be here for almost 2 months.
Yep.
And this is going to be our new spot, and we're very excited about it. But before we talk about this, I want to backtrack to the very beginning and catch people up on this entire journey. Let's rewind, and let's hop into the sponsors of the episode, because what allowed us to stay at these phenomenal hotels was working with these hotels. The really interesting thing is once you start building an audience and there's a lot of eyeballs on you, hotels are probably the number one thing that if you're a modern day influencer that you're able to get some accommodations for.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, I don't feel they're not paying you, but they're giving you a free stay.
Yeah.
And so we're like, let's just research, find the best hotels on our trip. And we're on the 10 East for 38 hours. And we researched, we found the best hotels. We reached out, and we were very grateful that they wanted to partner with us. So in exchange for these amazing night stays, even comped meals and a lot of really fun stuff, we were able to produce a lot of content for the hotels. And the first hotel that I want to give a shout out to is the Phoenician in Scottsdale, Arizona. Do you want to take this one since that was where you were born in Scottsdale?
This hotel is so amazing. The property is so stunning, and they have the greatest restaurant, Maury and Cotton, that we had. I had salmon, you had filet. So delicious, incredible views, a great pool. And it was really crazy because 30 years ago at that hotel, I actually did a fashion show with my sister. So you and I went down
to the ballroom.
Yes, it was so cool. So it was such a full circle moment, and their cleanliness, hospitality, just second to none. So if you guys are in Scottsdale, definitely hit them up. You can go to thephoenician.com/offers. They have new fall rates starting at $279. You guys will love it.
Yeah, you really do feel like home. I think the rooms were amazing. The views were good. There was a calmness to it, and it was beautiful. I love that it was in the desert, and not in the desert, but you know what I mean? Like the cactus, it's that vibe, and it is the desert. Arizona's the desert.
Of course it is, yeah.
So there's just so much space. It was just beautiful. It was so quiet, and that's what we needed. Yes. That's why we wanted to seek out the best hotels, because when you look up reviews, you hear, oh, the wall, like on certain hotels, you'll hear the walls are thin or and there's just all these reviews. But the Phoenician, 5-star, beautiful, perfect. I literally have no complaints, even though that this is a sponsor, but I'm being honest, like it was a phenomenal stay. So if you're in Scottsdale, check out the Phoenician. You will not be disappointed. And our next stop was El Paso.
Yes.
And what did you think about the El Paso Hotel, and what was the hotel we stayed at?
That was the Plaza Hotel in Pioneer Park. And it was so cool because I hadn't really heard much about El Paso before. And so we get into this town and come to find out it is so rich in culture, history, just every little detail. There's kind of a story behind, which I absolutely loved. And we went to Ambar Restaurant where they had all of this really cool, authentic, different type of meals and foods, because I guess the chef went all through Mexico and he picked all of the like trade secrets, if you will, and brought it back to El Paso. So delicious, so yummy. If y'all are there, also it's really cool too, because upstairs they have La Perla Lounge, which has the sickest views.
Yeah.
I mean, so beautiful. So
well, you can see when you're up on the very top floor, which is where Elizabeth Taylor used to actually live. She lived there for about 4 or 5 months, and they turned it into a bar later on. But we're going to get more into that hotel in general. Yeah. But the one thing I thought was really neat is that you can look when you're on the top floor and there's a mountain, and at the top of that mountain, people will climb it each year. Mexico, New Mexico, and Texas all come together in that one point, and you can see Mexico.
Yeah.
And it's just really awesome. I never realized how rich in culture El Paso was. I really wish we could have stayed longer. The Plaza Hotel, again, friendly, clean. I mean, the architecture, the suite was just incredible. So again, that
you
hotel.
even got a picture of me where I was sitting up because I had this amazing makeup mirror, and I was sitting up.
Oh, that
on
was
it.
that hotel.
And you're like 10 years, and I'm just learning this stuff about you. But I did a poll, and a lot of girls will sit and do their makeup when they're sitting down in front of a mirror. So just saying.
You always find that mirror to do that. That was our routine in the morning. I would get up, have coffee, be ready in 10, and then you would get ready for an hour, and then we would move along. But yeah, we have, again, just a wonderful stay, perfect stay, friendly staff, amazing food, clean rooms, especially during these times. So if you're in El Paso or you want to go for a weekend, even in the downtown area, it's just great. Mm-hmm. So you can check out the Plaza in El Paso. Yep. Just an incredible hotel. So thank you to the Phoenician. Thank you to the Plaza Hotel. Both of those for making our stays wonderful. Thank you for for trusting in us to create amazing content for you. It really made us up our game. I feel we got some really, really cool pictures. We learned a few new things of camera tricks, and we were able to get this new lower angle that we discovered to be able to get like the hotels in the background. We did it a couple times, and so we just had an absolute blast. So thank you to both of those hotels. And let's hop in today's episode, because I want to bring people all the way back to when we were packing, and then we're going to take you all the way through until we were heading to San Antonio, Texas, and then we'll do a part 2 on Wednesday for there. We want to give you the first few days. But welcome, everyone, to the Freddie and Alyssa Show. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe, like, comment, all that fun YouTube stuff. If you're watching on Facebook, like and follow. If you're listening on a platform like iTunes and you want to give us a 5-star review, that would be amazing. We would really appreciate it. We've been putting up content now for over 3 years. 3 years. And now that we're on the road, now that we have a new home, now that we're in Florida, we are pushing the podcast to the number one priority. This is where we're going to be 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, except the last Monday of the month, it will actually be a Sunday because it's live. And we do a Fueled Up episode. This is a Fueled Up episode. But normally, this Fueled Up episode on Monday's episodes are for the members, for our producers of the show.
For full video access.
For the full video access. But because we have so much to share with all of you, we wanted to give access to everybody on this episode so you can kind of get a taste of a Fueled Up episode. But if you want to learn how to become a member, at this point, I can confidently say it is so worth it. Your $10 contribution is helping us be able to run advertising, because we have a head start in this podcast space. Mm-hmm. It's starting to get big. We're running advertising. We're letting people know about us. We're growing our channel. The more we grow our channel, the more cool adventures we can go on and share with you, the more guests that we can get on. There's a lot of access we can do, and we want to do different videos outside of the podcast. So all of that ongoing crowdfunding is allowing us to not seek investors and give up a portion or give up control. me, Alyssa, and all of you listening can control this podcast, and we can keep giving you what you want. So if you've got a spare 30 cents a day or $10 a month and you'd like to pitch in on Facebook or YouTube, it's exactly the same thing. We give you tons of extra content. We did a video every single hotel that we were at, talking to the members. We have so many videos in that member section now that you can check out. So if you're on YouTube, click join. If you're on Facebook, you can click support now. And we would much appreciate that. And we want to thank all of you who are already members and contributing. You're the best. Thank you so much. And but I want to start back to when we were moving on Sunday. What was that experience like for you? We have not shared this story really. People might have saw my Instagram, but what happened on Sunday?
So Sunday we were just running around like crazy, trying to get everything all packed, and you get a call from our movers. And I was in the bedroom packing up the rest of my clothes, and all of a sudden I hear you go, "Oh, shoot." And I was like, oh no, this is not good. Because on Saturday, we actually texted the movers because we were so anxious. We're like, if there's any delay, anything that happens, we're so screwed because we are moving cross country. We have all this work lined up with all these hotels. We were just really nervous that something would happen. Well, on Sunday, you find out that one of their what do they call it? The foreman.
Yes.
The head mover, he tested positive for this lovely little name that I will not say. And unfortunately, he would not be able to be there. And unfortunately, the movers would have to come on Tuesday instead of Monday. So we were freaking out. We were trying to problem solve with this company. They were calling all of the other movers all around, that they knew to fill the spot for Monday, and they just couldn't do it. And so you, brilliant man, came up with the idea, well, hey, maybe we don't have to be here. Let's just hire someone, but now we have to find someone that we can hire. Because first we were reaching out to a bunch of friends, but it's a Tuesday. It's a Tuesday. It's less than 24 hours at this point. And, everyone's working. People just can't stop their lives. So we're like, okay, let's hire someone. And we reached out to our friend Tara, who's actually been on the podcast before. And she had the perfect girl, lifesaver. She was so fabulous. She went and was essentially like our power of attorney and had to sign everything. And she was just so on point. But that was a really stressful 24 hours because we were waiting to see, how long would you say it took for us to find someone?
Almost 9 hours.
Right?
Yeah. Well, we had a few friends that were able to come at night, but it was hard to find someone from the 2 to 5. Because we had a few people, like 3 friends could do after 5.
Yeah.
But there was no one that could do from 2 to 5. And we were like, what if the movers come at 2 o'clock?
Well, because they gave us a window. They couldn't give us an exact date or exact time. They go, it's 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. And we're like, you can't give us just a more general time, And so, yeah, all of our friends could come at night. But luckily, we found someone, and she was amazing.
And because of the inconvenience, the company gave us $500 off, which was...
As they should. That was a real big boo-boo.
I really wanted $1,000, and I asked for it, and that's another whole topic. But, I just think the stress of us having to spend our last day packing, looking for somebody to come to our house, and us leaving all of our furniture, not even getting that closure feeling of the apartment's empty, let's look through it one last time, we're going to lock the door after almost 15 years and leave. It was like, oh, we have a car full of stuff. Everything is still in our apartment. Everything we own. Yeah. And we have to leave a key under the mat with the door open for a stranger, referred by a great friend, but still a stranger, that hopefully they'll come at 2. Hopefully the movers will come at 2. Hopefully everything will work out. And then we just woke up and left. So we left on Monday.
Stressed, but everyone was super punctual.
It could not have gone better. The movers, perfect. The foreman got there at 2. Tara's friend Isa got there at 2. She was wonderful. I mean, it was perfect. It was perfect. And that's why we wanted to go to just Palm Springs the very first trip, because it was only 2 hours and 40 minutes away, or 2:20. Yep. And we knew after that stressful move, we thought the movers were going to be there Monday. So we left around 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock. Yeah. And then we got to Palm Springs around 6, and we were able to kind of relax. The first hotel we stayed at was very comfortable because we didn't have any work to do on that
Yeah.
one, and we just kind of relaxed. We watched a movie, The Ugly Truth.
The Ugly Truth.
And we had dinner out in public for the first time in 6 months.
But there was no one around. Let's not get it twisted.
Well, that was the cool thing, is that we sat in the corner, no one was around, and I felt really safe, because I know you and I have been being really, really cautious. But now that we've been in public, I love that everyone's wearing a mask. I love that we're wearing a mask and it's not that big of a deal, as long as you're social distance, keep your hands clean, be respectful.
Yeah.
And I think things are starting to catch wave to the whole entire public now. I think before, this was difficult in May or June. But now even drive-thrus have plexiglass. Just the whole entire drive, I just felt good. Even the restaurants we stayed in.
And I feel like, too, for me, I was very nervous at first being on the road, because we literally stayed home for 6 months. Didn't even go to the grocery store. And I feel really confident now about everything. Like, of course, I will continue to probably stay here and not go many places, but almost like less anxiety about it, because we really follow the protocols, even all the hotels. I mean, hand sanitizer everywhere, all these stations, everyone's wearing masks. A lot of them had masks out, complimentary. They really wanted to make sure. So Palm Springs, to me, was amazing. It was that first experience, kind of like dipping our toe in of, okay, let's slowly get into this.
Yeah.
And then we got to just relax, because we weren't doing work for the hotel that night. And we got to watch one of my faves, The Ugly Truth. Did you like that?
I did. I had a good time. I think it was, it's just, a romantic comedy is easy. It helps you unplug.
Yeah.
And that's what we needed for our mind racing, because even going to bed Monday, we still had the weight on our back of, will the movers, will Issa show up at 2:00? But we were able to sleep in. We woke up, and then we only had, a 4.5 hour drive to Scottsdale?
4.5 hour drive, yeah. And it's funny looking back, because that first night's sleep in Palm Springs, it was good, but there was so much on our plate, because I was so anxious about the movers, that I remember I was like waking up every hour. And then as we continued through our journey, obviously that stress was taken off of our backs. It all went seamlessly, but we were so tired at the end every single day that once our head hit the pillow, we were both out.
Yeah, I've never, it almost makes me question what I've been doing with my life, because I don't think I've ever slept as hard as I did when we were, I feel, until that trip, when I've never just put my head down and been able to fall asleep within a minute. My mind, my body was exhausted by the end of that day. And I think that was the thing we underestimated, and we're definitely not complaining, and I would do it the same way again.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. I like being challenged. It almost made the trip go faster. Yeah. But we had, other than that first night, we have not had a moment to relax until we got here last night. We underestimated how much work it was going to be, and the toll on your body of driving 7 hours, being tired, still being in the world right now of cleanliness, and you still have that kind of hanging over you of being careful, getting to a hotel, grabbing your luggage, carrying the heavy stuff, having Benji,
dog,
making sure he's going to the bathroom, checking in, going upstairs, seeing the room, and then we went and got all the content. And in my mind, I go, well, this is great. Like, we'll be able to take a few stories, but we're perfectionists, and we wanted to do a good job, and I wanted the responses we got from the hotels. They were like, this is fantastic, come back anytime. So we wanted to be able to make such an impression that anytime we go to those cities, we can stay for free and do another collab with them. Yeah. So we worked really hard, but by the time you got freshened up, we took the professional camera, and then we'd have to go and take your photos, and we would do maybe an outfit or two, and then different locations.
Before the light went
down at 6:45. And then we'd go back up to the room. I would take my phone, and then I'd go and do all my stories. Yep. And then we'd go back to the room. You would start editing. And then we would get like a little hungry, so we would go and eat. But while we were eating, we were posting everything on Instagram. We were tagging everything. And then we would go back up to the room. I would be editing something. You'd be editing something. And then showering. And then we got in bed and went to bed.
We were out.
And just out. And we did it all again and then all again. And so that was the one thing.
Driving in between, so going from Palm Springs to Scottsdale, 4.5 hours? That to me was such an enjoyable, easy drive. Yeah. Don't you agree? Like the desert was just so beautiful. And then getting to the Phoenician, it was almost still like, because I think the movers had already come. So we knew that was all secure, correct?
By the time we got to the Phoenician in Scottsdale, the movers had come and we got the green light that we were done, that it was all done.
Because when I think back to the entire trip, that I would say was the one night I felt the least amount of stress because we had so much time there to be able to get the content. We had plenty of hours to get the sun, the right lighting, the golden hour. And then we were able to go and have dinner at Maury and Cotton. And it was really cool because we sat outside. A lot of places do outside dining, but they had this mist, which was so nice, and it kept you cool. And that was the one place that Benji was just running around, and everyone like that was obviously working there didn't care, and he was just having the time of his life. So it's always nice when hotels are pet friendly.
Yeah.
Because a lot of times they aren't, and then we have that bag and we're like carrying it around.
Yeah.
And it's just stressful to hide it. But
even when we were taking, there was a picture, I don't know if you saw on Alyssa's Instagram, but we took this picture out by the pool at the Phoenician where we wanted to get the hotel in the background, and we got this great shot. But you have Benji in the bag, and then so it's on my shoulder, and then he gets out and starts running around, but there was no one around, so it was nice that he got to explore. He's having the time of his life.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm so happy. And this whole experience, don't you believe that it kind of sparked this new wave of content that I want to create? And the fact that, because Alyssa and I have worked with hotels in the past, but we haven't really traveled much. And well, we did travel, but for the past 18 months, not really. But as we've kind of grown our audience, we haven't reached out. And the fact that we've partnered with these great hotels, it makes me believe, we haven't tried it yet, but I believe that we'd be able to do this on many other hotels.
Yeah.
And that's the most fun that the whole trip was, other than it being exhausting, was so fun to me. Seeing a new city, having the top-notch food and a local drink. Like I had the house margarita in El Paso. I had that, I forget what the bourbon cocktail was at the Phoenician.
Oh, that's so good.
But having the local best food in a new place and then documenting that, our audience, I could tell even on Instagram, loved it.
Yeah, Facebook.
They're like, oh my gosh, like what like this is so cool, where you at? And people enjoyed it because we weren't just in our bunker.
Bunker in LA.
I can't believe we were just in that bunker for 6 months. And now that we got out and we saw the response, not only do we want to podcast from different places and take this on the road, but we want to go and explore and document and take pictures and work, but go there for 48 to 72 hours so that we can enjoy. Because a lot of those hotels like El Paso, in El Paso, and the St. Anthony in San Antonio, we had someone local who gave us a tour.
Right.
And we had to rush it because we didn't have the time. But if we were at this hotel and someone wants to show us around, that would be awesome if you have a couple days. So Alyssa and I are kind of picking each other's brain, thinking about what are we going to do. I don't think we're going to do it this year because we're renting this house till November 30th. And we don't want to leave the house.
Right.
And then we have to find our own place in December. Then it's Christmas, New Year's. So probably in 2021, though, if we can schedule this correctly, maybe we can hit 10 to 20 different locations locally, because we're close now.
Yeah.
If we feel safe flying, we'll do that, 20 minutes, 40 minutes.
I mean, let's not get crazy.
I just want to go explore. I had so much fun.
I did too. I had a blast, and I really think we will. But doing this drive showed me that it's really not that hard to hop in the car. It's really fun and go long distances, because when you're going obviously cross country, that's when it's a lot on your body, your psyche, everything. But if we say we're like, hey, let's go to Atlanta, it's 9 hours. You go there, you stay for quite a few days.
But even that, though, I mean, I think just because we just drove, I don't want to go more than...
I don't want to drive anywhere right now.
I don't want to drive anywhere or go anywhere.
I'm good for a while.
I just want to explore Florida because we need to figure out where we're going to stay.
That too.
But we're just going to take it easy. Other than doing the podcast 3 times a week and doing some content, we really need to find a place to live, and we want to explore Florida, because if we're going to rent for a year, we want to make sure that it's the area that we really like, so that we can finally put down some roots and just relax. Because we talked about buying a place, but I just can't handle the stress.
Not right now. We have
the
so
thought
much
of it,
on our
and then
plate.
planning our wedding. It's just too much, and it's making me really anxious. Where once we talked about it and go, why don't we just rent for a year? One more year.
It took so much stress off.
I was like, the paperwork, the looking, the escrow, the getting in, the
but we also
buying
just
a
got
lawnmower.
here. Oh, you keep that is your number one thing. You're like, if we buy a house, I don't know if I want a pool because I'm gonna have to clean it. I'm gonna have to do the lawn. That was like your two biggest cons in purchasing a home.
I'll spare everyone and you my rant, but also the numbers of purchasing a house.
That too.
I won't go through it, but it's really interesting when you break down how much it really costs and what really goes into it if you're not going to stay there for 30 years and eventually pay it off. It's almost not a good investment. But I'll save that for another podcast.
Save that for another day. So, okay, let's go back to Scottsdale. After that, we went to El Paso. How far was that drive? I'm trying to remember it.
El Paso was about 6 hours.
So
we were still in a really, really good... It didn't start to get arduous. Is that the word? What's tedious and...
It just got very lengthy.
But we were still like on cloud nine,
moving
into the Plaza. When we got to the Plaza Hotel, we walked in and we just got to have dinner. Like, it was great.
Yeah.
And you even washed your hair that night. I did watch a little bit of Fallon before bed, and
that was the first hotel though that we realized, oh shoot, we're missing the sun. Because
we got it just in time.
Yeah, we did.
Yep.
We did. But we started realizing, the more we drive, because after El Paso is when the actual driving started taking place. 8 hours, 9 hours, it was a lot.
I think so. From El Paso to San Antonio was 7 hours and 45 minutes. And then San Antonio to New Orleans ended up being 9.
Yeah.
And then from New Orleans to the house was 10.
Yeah.
So that's when it really started getting a little tedious. But we were still on cloud nine into El Paso, and that was really great. But the thing that I've realized about driving, for anyone who's made the drive from California even to Texas on the 10 East, I have never realized how massive, and I still don't know, because that's just one section.
Yeah.
The United States is a huge landmass. We were driving 92 mile an hour for 4 hours straight, and there's nothing.
It's insanity.
There's nothing.
Nothing.
You're just on the road.
Yep.
You look to the left, you look to the right, desert.
Yeah.
And you're like, there's so much space.
Yeah.
But no one has
done anything
with it. Then you pull into Houston. You're like, holy crap. Or Katy, Texas. That was surprising. I never heard of Katy, Texas. And I go, this looks like the Jetsons. It looked like the future.
I know.
All the bridges look new. And I'm looking around going,
like, where am I?
Look at what human beings created, though. It's incredible to see 4 hours of Earth than to see what man has made.
Absolutely.
What mankind has created is so incredible.
Yep.
Just the men and women in this entire history of human beings, what we've created is magnificent, and you can see it when you're driving.
Yep.
And you also realize how small you are, that we think we run the world in the sense that we do in the world we've created in our minds. But when you really start looking at how big the earth is and the trees and just how massive it is, you just feel small, and it's humbling.
Yeah.
And it's relaxing. What were your thoughts on driving through that desert, minus the one town, which I don't know what it was, where we hit 1,000 bugs?
Oh, yeah, that was so weird. But that was more in Texas. One of my favorite things of this drive was seeing the landscape change. First, you're in the desert, and you're seeing all of that, and it's just these incredible sunsets. And then when you got to Texas, I don't know where we were at, but there was this one town, and there were so many bugs. It was insane. We even stopped to get gas there, and they were just swarming around everywhere.
It was like a
weird.
movie. Yeah.
It was a little scary to be
like,
honest.
Sorry for whoever lives in that town, but there's certain times you kind of have to go, maybe we should leave.
Because
I had to clean my windshield off twice. And I don't mean like 6 bugs. Like, I grew up in Ashtabula, Ohio. There's bugs you hit.
This was horror film.
This was horror film for about 20 miles of...
It was strange. Mm-hmm. And yeah, it was so crazy because all of them kept flying onto the windshield. Pew, pew. It's very sad.
Well, and you can you can't wipe them off. It just smears. So I had to go to the gas station
you did
and
that
rub
a couple
this.
Times.
Yeah, rub this off and but yeah, you said you were talking about the landscape.
Yeah, so it was so cool to see that. And then as we were getting into Louisiana, you started seeing the swamps and more lakes. And I don't know, it's just so cool to really take in the earth. Because when living in LA for 15 years, when did we do that? We did that one time right before we left when we went to the beach for the first time.
In a long time.
In a long, long, long time. And there's something just about being out on the open road that's so therapeutic. I can't describe it. It was just so peaceful and almost kind of recharged me in a weird way.
It was life-changing.
Uh-huh.
And I encourage anyone who can take a 2-hour trip somewhere. Yeah. I mean, who would drive 40 hours if they didn't have to? But you can feel the different energy. Yep. You can feel the people. You realize how big the United States is. Yeah. And you just realize that we're all living our lives and you get consumed with where you're at.
Yeah.
You get consumed with this. It's like when you start meeting other people and you start driving, you just feel a difference in every city. Yeah. The way people drive, the kind of cars.
Yep.
It's unbelievable.
Yep.
What state was just truck?
Probably
Texas on the way to New Orleans. Truck. Just trucks everywhere.
Yep.
Just you look in your rearview mirror, you're like, I'll move over the truck.
So many trucks.
So it's just interesting. Everyone's going to be so mad, but we have to cut this off today because we have the owners of the house coming over to show us in just a couple minutes, like kind of how to work some of the things. And we have a lot of questions for them, and we wanted to sneak this in. I know this was a short part one, but Wednesday we're going to come back 3 p.m. Eastern, and we're going to do we'll do a much longer one. We'll continue this conversation because I feel like we're just getting started.
Yeah, definitely.
So we don't mean to cut you all off, but we wanted to at least touch base, say hi, we're here, do our fueled up with some water. But yeah, come back on Wednesday. Yeah, lame. Maybe, the following Monday we'll have some wine or something. But we appreciate all of you, and I just have so much to say. I have so much to talk about.
We're going to talk about it.
All right, we're going to talk about it.
All over my face.
All right, we love you all. We'll be back Wednesday, and we'll fill you on the rest of the road trip. And then if you have any questions, comment below, and we'll answer as many as we can as well on the next episode. So we love you. We appreciate you. We want to let you know we've made it. We're here.
We're safe. We're in
Florida. Florida Fred,
he's coming, bruh.
And I have to shave. This is ridiculous. I just haven't had a second. I'm gonna get rid of it. Or trim it. We'll see. All right. We got to go. We love you, and we'll talk to you soon.
Bye.